everyone. Welcome to the Make It Big podcast. I'm Shelly Kilpatrick, one of our content marketing managers at Ecommerce. And today we're going to be talking about all things B2B. Here with me are two guests from our partner agency, Brilliance Business Solutions. We have President and CEO, Lori McDonald. And then we also have Director of Project and Product Management, Eric Dingeldein. Lori has decades of experience in e-commerce and is honestly one of our favorite subject matter experts to talk to because prior to her time in e-commerce, she was a flight controller at NASA. It's so hard to avoid talking about that, but today's focus is B2B e-commerce, so be just as excited. Eric has been with Brilliance going on 5 years and has over a decade of experience in project management, business analysis, and leadership. Prior to Brilliance, he was at Kohl's and Rockwell Automation. So Lori and Eric, thank you so much for being on the Make It Big podcast today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, nobody came to hear me talk, so let's dive right in and hear you guys. So Lori, I want to start with you. First, tell us a bit about Brilliance Business Solutions, your mission, and your approach to B2B.
Yes, well, so I started Brilliance in 1998. As you mentioned, what most people remember about me is that I worked at NASA before Brilliance, and actually I ended up relocating to Milwaukee, Wisconsin with my husband, who I had met through NASA, and he eventually went to work at Rockwell Automation. And I was trying to figure out what could be as cool as space, and so I decided to start a web development company. And from the beginning, we kind of realized that we were uniquely equipped to work in the B2B e-commerce space. My husband managed the largest data warehouse at Rockwell Automation, and so he was really familiar with the needs of manufacturers and distributors. So at Brilliance, our purpose is empowering long-term success in digital on a foundation of continued innovation. And that's really what we look at when we're working with customers, with mid-market manufacturers and distributors, helping them to think about how they can be planning both for where they are today and where they want to go in the future and taking incremental steps in that direction.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you've been in the industry a long time, and you can give us some good insights into how B2B is different today than maybe 5 to 10 years ago, but then also how it's different just from like 1 year ago. I feel like so much has changed. I want to hear from both of you on this. So Lori, we'll start with you, and then Eric, I want to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting. I have been in this space a long time. One of the things that's changing is that organizations, manufacturers and distributors tend to be a little bit slower to adopt new trends in digital. Many times they've been an industry that has seen their sales grown primarily through their sales teams, through people. And so for a long time, there was a sense that we don't really need digital, our customers don't buy that way, was how some organizations felt. That's definitely, that's been changing for some time in pieces, but COVID really accelerated that. So now organizations realize we have to be leveraging digital in terms of enabling customers to self-serve. The other thing that's really interesting that's changed in the last 5 to 10 years, I would say, is the technology itself, and BigCommerce is a part of this. It used to be that if you were in the B2B e-commerce space, you really couldn't leverage SaaS products because they didn't have the capabilities that you would need to provide that B2B capability. And one of the reasons we're really excited to be BigCommerce partners is because of the investments that you're making in the B2B side. And so in terms of how that impacts those organizations, it really enables them to move into digital commerce more quickly, have more capabilities that they don't have to spend as much time building out because it's already been created for them.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I previously worked at Rockwell with Lori's husband for a time period. He was actually my first manager. But one of the things when I joined Rockwell is they were doing a lot of their data transmissions through EDI. And I was like, oh, this EDI stuff's really cool. And I really got into that, and I found it to be really cool. Then when I left Rockwell, I joined Kohl's. Started working at Kohl's, and they were just starting to get into moving applications to the cloud. So it's like you can, as I was changing careers, I could see the evolution of kind of like how B2B and just how data itself is kind of being transmitted. So then when I joined Brilliance, then I got to learn, more about APIs and how data, can be interchanged through APIs and how fast that was and how powerful it was. And it just speaks to, you can see the evolution of the technology and how that's going. And you can see it's really leaning towards the need of the B2B space, which is how do we get data, from point A to point B faster? Just like how do we get a B2B customer to their product, get them through the checkout process, get them what they need fast, efficiently. And then you can just see the evolution of the tools that are doing it, and you can see the evolution of the e-commerce space doing it as well.
Would you say that like the B2Bs are, I feel like I hear interesting things where it's like they're sometimes slower to adapt, but now you're talking about fast use of technology. How do those two things that seem like somewhat different in B2B kind of, I guess, work together? Are they quicker to adapt technologies than maybe we give them credit for? Or are they slower? Like, how, I don't know, I'm curious how y'all feel about that.
I think they've been changing. I think, and it really depends on the organization and the people within it. I think many manufacturers and distributors now have either leadership that recognize this, or maybe they have several people on their team that are kind of driving in this direction. But the ones that are leading within their industry have recognized that investing in digital and in providing that seamless buyer experience is something that they have to pay attention to. And so they're learning new skills. Many of the customers we work with are learning to work in new ways, while they may have been taking kind of a slower approach in the past. They're starting to adapt to new ways of working to work more quickly. That's my thought. I don't know, Eric, what you're seeing.
No, I would add on to that. I mean, when you're talking about business to business, you're talking about big organizations. So change is always going to take time.
Yeah.
You got to get a lot of parts moving. Like Lori said, you might have some visionaries that want to move in a direction, but you have to get all those parts to go along with that, and that takes time. But I mean, you still see at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is how do we make our business-to-business transactions faster, more efficient, and get the products, get whatever services that are their customers need in their hands as fast as possible.
Are B2B buyers kind of like clamoring to buy through digital channels? Is that something, we talk about manufacturers and distributors launching B2B. Is it because that they have a lot of their buyers are like, we don't want to fax, we don't want to buy through sales, we want to go digital?
Well, I mean, the demographics are shifting younger, certainly, and I mean, the same folks that buy for our business buyers are also consumers. We're all people, and at the end of the day, we all like just to do whatever's easiest, I think, right? And there's definitely research out there that shows that folks are less likely to want to talk to a salesperson, and so I think folks, if they're able to self-serve online, they want to be able to do that. And ultimately, people want to be able to solve their own problems if they can quickly. And so digital can offer them a path to get their own answers, to do some of their own research. And then maybe they do have questions that they want to, talk with a salesperson about. That doesn't eliminate the role of salespeople at all. It just helps them to be more, efficient, effective, and also helps to ensure that the buyers are getting what they need when they need it. So,
yeah. Just to add to that, one of the things is typically they know like the products that they want to purchase. Whether they've been doing business with them for a long time or they have found them on the web, but they found them because they have the products that I need to further my business. And so doing it via the web, obviously you can do it a lot faster. And then like Lori said, salespeople will always be in need because there's always obviously questions and account information that you need to figure out. But I think that digital commerce definitely gives them a means that they, like, again, it's just more efficient and easier. It just makes things easier.
Nice. So now that we've talked about kind of how B2B has grown and changed, and a lot more companies are moving into e-commerce, I am a little bit curious about, with everything that's happening in the economy, and we hear potential recession, and we know that's kind of impacting a lot of B2C businesses and tech companies. Like, we see this stuff in the news. Sometimes they talk about the acceleration of e-commerce might have been a little preemptive. Is it the same for B2Bs? Are they experiencing that same, maybe some of this was preemptive, or is it different and it's like, no, accelerate even more? I'm curious.
Well, I think, there's certainly, the market is feeling uncertainty. That's certainly true. And what I hear, we have a customer advisory board, and what I hear from them, what I hear from organizations on the whole, is that one of their top challenges is a lack of, internal team members to do enough. They have so many things they want to do, they don't have enough people, and so that's one of the one of the other challenges that we all experience. That many B2B buyers, I think, are experiences in terms of being able to find products. Like, the supply chain issues still exist, right? So I think, could there be a recession? I think there's uncertainty in people's minds, and at the same time, they're trying to figure out, how do we grow in the midst of this uncertainty? And so to do that, that really means meeting buyers where they are, solving those problems. And the reason, some organizations will pull back when they feel that uncertainty, but we've seen organizations who are looking to invest, who are saying now is the time that we want to be leveraging these digital tools to help our team be more efficient, because we don't have as many folks on the team as we wish we had, right? It's still a challenging labor market out there. And also, let's help make our team more efficient, at the same time be providing the tools to people so that they can find the information they need, that we're the company they look to in this time of uncertainty to help them.
Nice. Eric, any?
I think Lori summarized that pretty well.
So I feel like then we're saying it's kind of similar for B2C.
I think it is, yeah.
Is B2B still also need to take this as an opportunity to invest in technologies that will help them be more efficient and help them grow, rather than not investing and pulling back. It's really while it's a down market, really make these investments in internal processes, workflows, and how you can grow, so that when everything does bounce back, you're ready to hit the ground running, you're ahead of the competition who pulled back, you can be the star.
Yeah, well, and even right now, one of the great things about digital is that when you think about the B2B buyers, they're also worried, right, about a potential recession. And so they're thinking about, how can I save money? And so the digital tools enable people to log in and look at things like, how much did I spend last year, or to self-serve, to look for different products and compare. You're giving more control to the buyer, and that makes it more likely that they're going to choose to work with you, because you're helping them to get the information they need to make an educated decision. So it's positioning you. It also, digital also enables you to try new things relatively quickly, which is the other thing that we've seen organizations that are having to when we talked about speeding up, having to iterate a little faster to figure out what will work best in this market when so many things are changing.
Oh, that's really good advice to to do that as well. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. I think that's super timely. So, we've talked theoretically, you've mentioned some customers, but I'd like to dive deep into some more real world examples of B2B businesses and how you've helped them. So, Eric, in your mind, what has been a standout example of a client you've launched recently? Tell us why they came to you and how you helped them.
Sure. We have a long-standing relationship with a client of ours called Guess Wine, and they're a distributor of precision tools. And prior prior to their transition to BigCommerce, they were on a on-premise solution, and we were actually partners with them at that time and helping them and providing service on that solution. And they were talking about transitioning to a new ERP solution, and at that time they decided to transition to Acumatica. And with us being partners with BigCommerce, we started talking to them, because they also talked about, maybe this is a good time to bring our solution to the cloud as well. And so we approached them with the idea of replatforming to BigCommerce, and they really liked that idea. They had a lot of goals with making it a seamless transition from their current ERP to Acumatica, and then from their current on-premise solution to BigCommerce. And one of the things that we really helped with was that we worked hand in hand with their Acumatica VAR at the time, and so we were able to provide a lot of input into different types of things to set up in Acumatica that we can then bring onto the web to help. Guesswine did a lot of cool things with showcasing different product information on their pages that was very useful to their B2B customers, like shipping information, pricing information, various different product information. So instead of trying to manage that within BigCommerce, we set it up so that Acumatica can bring that data into BigCommerce and allowing them to basically manage all their key information within Acumatica. It was really cool it was our first time kind of working with the BigCommerce Acumatica integration package, which was really cool. It made things, transition a lot easier, and made things work. We didn't have to spend a lot of time setting up the different endpoints, but I'm sure people can recognize that takes a while at times, or can take a while. But some other things we did for our Guesswine on BigCommerce is with some of their products, they needed to kind of showcase different types of attributes of the products. So not just the products themselves. So it was almost like we created a comparison tool, but in a different way. We kind of put it into almost like a schematic table format. And then that way you can kind of see products side by side, which they kind of had on their old site, but in different ways. We kind of put it all together and then allowed them to see the different attributes, how the products compared together. And then the nice thing was you could directly add the cart from there. And so you didn't have to go to the product page. It gave you that flexibility to add the cart from there. And like I said, it was the first kind of BigCommerce Acumatica integration project, so it was really good for experience in that. And at the end of the day, being able to do that for the first time with a client that we've had a long-standing relationship was just an awesome experience. At the end of the day, Guesswine has been a great client of ours, and it's such a privilege for us to, work with them and continue with them on this venture. But it did bring a lot of cool experiences. It's a great project.
Yeah.
Very glad to see where
Sounds
they're at
like
today.
it. Do you have anything to add, Lori? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, Guesswine has been, as Eric said, they've been a long-standing client, and one of the things that I think is just really exciting is they're a great example of what we've been talking about in terms of trends. They were on an on-premise solution that had a higher, total cost of ownership in terms of the maintenance required from it, and so by moving to BigCommerce, they're able to access more features and functionality more quickly. They don't have to worry about upgrades anymore or hosting. John Harsh, who's the contact that we work with at Guesswine, has just always been great in terms of really understanding that investments in technology are going to help their team to be more efficient and effective, and making these investments also improve their their customers' experience, enable them to serve their customers in new ways. I know they've seen some really great growth through their investments in digital, which is always great to hear that that's happening, and that the move to Acumatica has been a real positive for them as well. And so, it just makes me really excited to see. I know that relationship between BigCommerce and Acumatica is strong, which is another way that really helps organizations, I think, who are looking at how can we be more efficient and effective, and having integrations in place that enable you to just, as Eric was talking about, maintain data in one place and not have to update it in multiple places. Just, it saves people time. Yeah.
Nice. So having the ERP and the e-commerce connected and really tight, how we are with our partners, seems like it's really helped them and enabled greater efficiencies with going back and forth and not having to, I'm guessing with on-prem, they were doing a lot of dev work and technical work themselves.
that was us. We were doing a lot of
we were doing that work.
We took business.
But now it allows us to spend time on things that are going to hopefully, drive more revenue, more value, versus having to spend time on things and just keeping the platform up and running. I know they're using Shipper HQ, right? And I think they've made some improvements in their search with it.
We did integration. It was actually one of our first commerce stores. We did the B2B Edition.
B2B Edition. We love B2B Edition.
That was really cool to get that experience and bring all that and see how that functions, especially with Acumatica as well. So putting that Acumatica package in was a great experience. They did Shipper HQ. That was our first experience with that. Very good shipping add-on. A lot of cool features and functionalities with that they leveraged very well. I'm trying to think, and then they just started utilizing Search Spring.
Oh yeah.
So we're finding with a lot of our B2B clients, there's a lot of good search tools set up within BigCommerce already, but when you start getting into more B2B frameworks, it's just the different types of attributes you can encounter. And just how much flexibility you need to have with kind of your search engines. And Search Spring is actually a good tool to kind of use their flexibility to do that. So.
And guess what? Like many of our clients, I think, has a large number of SKUs, right?
Yes.
And so being able to, part of buyers being able to seamlessly, find what they're looking for and buy it, is having a great search that it, especially, so in Geswine's case, they, sell precision cutting equipment to like jewelers and so that means that they have a lot of products that the pictures look pretty similar, but to Eric's point, like the specs are, it might be an 8-inch, grid versus a quarter-inch, and so that really means your search has to be really critical, and the product displays, the page displays in terms of helping people find what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've heard, and what we're trying to do with B2B is we know it's different than like a D2C in those certain capabilities where it's like they need more advanced, robust search. They need better product detail because there's like so much detail and things happening there, and they also need to be able to sell it. Some of them need to be able to sell it to their, they're taking that information and then selling it, so they need a lot of detail. So that is why we definitely try to partner with the best to make sure if our native, capabilities don't have it, we make it easy to, tap to one of our partners. We make it easy to tap to an agency partner who can also, bring that whole tech stack together and do that. I think that's where, our philosophy of best of breed, is we have everything you need. You can leverage BigCommerce native functionality, but we also allow through APIs and open SaaS is to be very open and customized like where you need it with search and things like that. So love that this is a great example of that mission that we put out there.
Yeah, very much so. And we're all about, helping people start, get something out there and then improve it over time. And I think, Geswine's a good example of that. Like they went live, I think, with just the out-of-the-box search, right? And then implemented Search Spring later. I think that's one of the great things about your open SaaS approach is that it enables you to, both get something up and running quickly and then be leveraging different apps in the marketplace over time.
And that sounds like the things y'all want to be doing is helping them improve search, which will help improve their customer experience. And
Right.
it sounds like being on a SaaS cloud platform allows that, because you're not spending so much of y'all's time and they're not paying you to just keep the lights on. Now
Right. Yep.
they're
You
paying
spend your time on
for-
different things. Yeah.
for growth and those better tools that'll help like the end customer. Like at the end of the day,
Yep.
all of us are really for the end customers.
That's
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
It's all about value. Yeah.
Love
Yep.
that. BigCommerce just announced some fantastic new features for B2B Edition: multi-storefront for multi-brand, multi-geo, headless support, and a brand new buyer portal. So I'd love to get y'all's take on some of these new features. So first, let's talk about multi-storefront, because that one's a big one. We launched that last year for our B2C customers, and now we're making B2B Edition compatible with multi-storefront. So how do you guys see B2B businesses utilizing multi-storefront? What advantages does that provide for them?
Sure. You want me to take this one?
It's up to you. Yeah. Either way.
I was gonna start with some actual like real life cases, kind of similar to yesterday.
I love it.
So we have a couple clients that have, what they call like customer portals or multi-storefronts. One of our clients has two in particular that they're currently operating off, and one of their storefronts is really geared towards B2C. So in this storefront, they really focus on marketing, and they focus on content, and they focus on trying to attract basically new customers to their products and try to get them, interested in their product lines, interested in doing business with them. So not only retail, but also, new B2B opportunities as well. But the site's really geared to that. It showcases the products, it gives you all the product information like you would normally see on a commerce site, but everything else is really geared towards that. Then their other site is really geared towards their B2B, like existing customers and possibly new customers, where it's all about the products and making it easier to find the product that they're looking for. And, they have like builders, contractors, and distributors that all shop, and everything's all about trying to just get them to the product and get them through to, checkout. And it's really geared towards that. And what I could see is even growing off of that, where they could probably spin it off and even do more direct, like based on, customer groups, and more like content focused, more focused, and even doing more storefronts possibly in the future to do that. And that kind of leads to some other examples where we have clients that really set up different portals basically for individual clients, because they have contact that is geared towards that client, or they have features and functionalities that is geared towards that specific customer. And they were really putting efforts into there. You can see the products being different, product availabilities, product options, everything's different, and it's really customer focused. And then I know with multi-storefront, then you can start getting regionally focused. You can get as granular or as detailed focus as possible with this kind of setup. And I look at these experiences. When I learned BigCommerce was going down this path, I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. We already have clients that are doing this today that we've built solutions for. Now having something that's already embedded into BigCommerce, that's just a great start to build off of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would add to that, we run into customers frequently who are growing through acquisition. And so, and who have like different brands, and so I think multi-storefront provides a great path for them to be able to, continue to have different brand experiences and to streamline those onto one platform. And also, we were talking about efficiency for internal teams. Having just one back end to manage instead of having to, manage a bunch of different tools. It's really powerful, great capability.
Nice. So speaking of storefronts. B2B is going to be available for a headless, or B2B Edition is going to be available for a headless implementation. I know headless might be a little technical. We might be putting a few people to sleep here, but from my understanding, basically it's just use the the storefront that's like the theme. You pick it; it's already there. Whereas headless is like using a different tool for the front end and. So with B2B Edition, now they can have, and Multi-storefront, they can have one that's just straight out of the box, native, BigCommerce, or have the same back end managing a different front end. Am I
you're
on the right
absolutely
track?
right. Yeah, so you're leveraging
That's real
the
good.
APIs from BigCommerce to enable you to serve up that site in whatever front end you want, in a different content management system or whatever kind of front end you want to build, which really provides people a lot of flexibility. And increasingly the market is heading in the direction of composable commerce. Those solutions tend to create other areas of complexity potentially in terms of managing the front end. So you need to have the right use case for that to be the appropriate fit for you. But the great news is that it demonstrates that organizations can plan to have BigCommerce as a tech stack that's going to support them regardless of what direction they plan to go in.
Nice.
So.
I feel like I'm guessing it would be for what you said, acquisition.
It could be,
a good use for that if they have one store on a different front end that maybe they don't want to change that out.
Yep. Or if you want a content management, controls and experience that is maybe more sophisticated, that you're going to have a marketing team managing, that you want something beyond what you would get within the Stencil BigCommerce site.
Maybe that first example of,
Yeah.
of the B2C one where
Yeah.
you're really
Yep.
focused on marketing, and then the B2B one that's really just focused on product content.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be a good use case.
And you also see, in times in integrations that only certain tools can work with certain tools. And so, once you get to headless, it gives you that more flexibility that we can make things work with other things that don't have a direct integration to.
Because the API is there.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Because it has an open API that you can leverage, which I think it's a really good path that can help a lot of people.
Nice. Okay, so Eric, I know that you got a sneak preview of the new buyer portal. As at this time that we're recording, technically hasn't been released yet. So hopefully once this does go live on our site, it'll be released. But if not, people can get super excited about it because we'd love to hear what you think.
Sure. First, privileged to be able to get to see it early. It was also the demonstration that was provided. I'm super excited. The buyer portal is, when we talk about B2B, it is very important. It gives your B2B merchants or B2B customers the ability to not only manage their account, on the digital tool, but also be able to, again, you give them means to order quickly, either through our order history or reorder or quick order. You're given in shopping list ability to just manage, within the digital landscape instead of always having people just go out, hey, go find a product, go purchase it. You're giving them the tools that they need. One of the things we were kind of being challenged with that the new buyer portal is going to help is it's not theme dependent. So some of the things we were seeing, if we were using different themes for different clients, you could sometimes see the buyer portal function in different ways. Not often. But
You're talking about with B2B Edition, right?
Well, not even B2B Edition,
okay.
just kind of in general. And it's just more of and then sometimes you saw the designs were kind of different. Things were just kind of a little bit off. It being not theme dependent, I think that's going to be huge because you're going to have that consistency, especially with all the theme developers and agency partners. And I think everybody's going to love that. The other thing is the configuration settings that I saw. I only got a sneak peek. I didn't get to see it all. I was a little tears came to my eye because I was super excited. But no, what I saw, it looks awesome because we were having a conversation about this before. And as an agency partner, obviously, we want to do everything we can to get our clients to that end state, that state they want to be in, to go live, be happy with their website. Whether we have to do that through our own development or whether we could do that, through quick setup via the BigCommerce administration or backend. To us, when it's easier and more straightforward, I think it's beneficial even for the agency, and obviously for the customer that owns the BigCommerce store. So I'm super excited about that. Being able to make quick changes, make adjustments, be a little bit more flexible in that area without having to make dev changes or make things work. And that's super exciting. And then I saw the mobile view, again, very quickly, but also excited about that because I'm often, or even me as an agency partner, I'm often on my phone trying to figure stuff out, and I'm like, oh, it's so hard. So the mobile view is, I'm sure everybody's going to be very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got to see a little bit of it too, and I was really impressed with how fast it was. I mean, it loads really fast, really easy, which also is a part of the, making it easy to use on mobile. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
So it sounds like back to our original point about with Guess When as an agency, y'all aren't keeping the lights on or building so much customization or y'all don't have to do so much work just setting it up because you don't have to worry about the themes being different and making them the same. This gives you more flexibility to build cool stuff and drive value through BigCommerce for your clients who are going to be happier with you, be happier with BigCommerce because their customers are going to get a good looking experience.
Yeah. I always look at it where the parts I love is, when a client comes to us and they have something that is very specific to help their organization or be able to serve their types of customers. And it's, it's very specific. It's not something you see, globally across all users. It's something very specific. And they're Brilliance. We have BigCommerce. Can you make this work? Yes, I can. Or yes, we will. And those are the type of challenges that I love. And I think that's the type of challenges Brilliance as a company. That's what we love to take on, is, that unique architecture, unique solutions, and really put our brains to the test and see what we can come up with. And I have a lot of fun with that, personally.
Nice. Well, I'm glad y'all are excited about B2B Edition and the new stuff we're releasing. Yeah. We're super excited about it. We've got a whole go-to-market plan, so we really want merchants to be excited about it too, that we are, as a company, heavily invested in B2B. It is a big strategic focus for us. We've made investments in it. We're continuing to make investments in it. We want our product to really help merchants grow. That's our goal. So changing the subject a little bit, but still keeping on growth. We're talking about growth, we're talking about investing in technology. So there's a lot of things we've been talking about that'll help with growth. But I'm curious, if B2B merchants were to take away one tactic right now that could really help them grow their business, what is the one thing you recommend? Lori, first you, and then Eric.
I'm so glad you're going for
You have another second to think about it.
So the challenge with coming up with a tactic, I hate to answer your question this way, is that in some ways it does depend on the business. It's easier to give them that one tactic if I was talking to that specific company. But here's the guidance I would provide. It's when you're thinking about the tactic, you want to think about your customers. So what is the one thing that would make their life easier today? What would solve that pain point for them that you aren't currently doing? So I think it might be showing product availability information if you're not already, maybe they're already doing that, but if they're not, or it might be providing the ability to request a quote online if they're not doing that today. Those are things, but gearing around how do I save my customers time and make it so they don't have to pick up the phone and call someone? I would look for a feature that's going to enable you to do that depending on how your customers interact with you today.
Yeah, and to add to that is, one of the number one goals is, you're setting up a digital commerce site to be able to give, easier way to your products and an easier way to purchase your products. My tactic would be, once you have that experience done and have a good process in growing that, start looking at other areas. like other areas of your organizations, other processes, like with B2B Edition, starting to get more into quotes or into invoices and starting to bring those type of processes now to the digital commerce framework. It's just don't stop there. Just keep looking at ways you can bring processes that are maybe more manual or more outside of your commerce digital framework, and see, is there a way, would our clients like this? Would they like to be able to also come to our website and be able to do this? And then, if the answer to that is yes, then work with somebody to find a solution that can that can do it for you.
Like Brilliance.
Like Brilliance. Hashtag. No, I'm just joking.
But I mean, that's such good advice. I think at the end of the day, whether you're B2B, B2C, not even in e-commerce, just in any business, it's like know your customers. I think one of the good things and exciting things about e-commerce is it, for B2Bs especially, gives you more information about your customers, because you can see, are they, where in the buying process are they kind of having more issues. You can kind of see, giving them more advanced quoting options might help. Maybe the salesperson should create the draft order, or maybe the salesperson doesn't even need to, and it's, the customer can reorder. So I think you get more information about what your customers want through e-commerce, which is something B2Bs don't always have. And even just like the marketing tactics too with customers, email marketing is so good. I think, we're all tired of emails. We have a million emails in our inbox and stuff, but personally, I think it's still a good way to like get a pulse on your customers. You should even ask them like, hey, what's something we could do? Run a poll, run like something, it's a good feedback loop. Yep. And I think, if you're looking for tactics to get to know your customers, digital marketing and like these tools and being e-commerce is a great way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is there are so many tactics out there that you can be, which is why, you really don't want to be spending all of the time and effort on building the stuff that just keeps the lights on, right? That you don't want to spend your time there, because there are so many other things that you can do, and those are the things that are really going to help you drive value with your customers. I know that many companies see that their cost to serve for customers who are ordering online is lower than their cost to serve customers that are not leveraging digital, which makes sense, right? Because there's less cost in the tech than there is in the people and the time it would take to serve if they're making those phone calls and calling. And so, in many ways, it is a cost savings measure. And then, yet to your point, also digital gives them the ability to continually learn more about those customers. So it's a really positive step for sure.
Nice. All right. So we're on to the final question. And we started by talking about how B2B has changed over the last 5 years. So now let's look towards the future. How do you see B2B e-commerce changing going forward 5 years? What's the future? Predict that for me.
Predict the future. Do you want me to go first? Or yeah, I'm happy to. So like my I love conversational AI. I'm really excited about conversational AI, and I was excited about it even before ChatGPT. But because I think honestly right now, I think many B2B companies aren't at a point of investing in that yet. But I think the technology, when we think about the buyers want a seamless, effortless experience, and the technology is doing things like it'll scan an organization's safety data sheets, as an example, and then let someone in a chat who's looking for a specific product, they're leveraging the data from that manufacturer to figure out, oh, here's the product you're looking for. Or you can go into your live chat and ask for what's the status of order 5432, and it'll come back and say, oh, that's scheduled to be delivered tomorrow, like in your chat, and it's calling BigCommerce's APIs to figure out that answer, right? And so I think it just offers, there are so many improvements happening there, and in many, like you see many banks and insurance companies and other types of industries that are leveraging conversational AI, and I really believe that's going to move more into B2B e-commerce in the future, and I think it'll be a really exciting development. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm so in love with this, and we might have to keep talking about this. Okay, wait, Eric, tell us what you think of the future.
So mine was actually too around AI.
Oh, okay,
but
I love it.
it's just the evolution of AI. You're really seeing it start to really pick up in the B2C space, and it's, can we start, leveraging that more in the B2B space? But I really see AI, personalization, all that just kind of continuing to evolve over time. And then it's possibly because I'm a big data nerd and I grew up a data nerd, but integrations to me, it's, I think that's one of the big things is you talked about marketing, but how can I get data from all the different aspects of my company and make it work together to provide value to my customers or attract new customers or provide value to my partners that I work with. There's so much data stuff that you could do, that integrations is just a powerful thing, and being able to link as much as you can together, I think is huge.
Absolutely. I know there's so much talk about, a 360-degree view of your customer, and that can be, it sounds great in concept, but it's actually really challenging to achieve. And the great thing for B2B companies, you talked about how much data they can get digitally, but they already have so much data on them, like in their offline systems. Like in many cases, they have a lot of data about those customers. So finding a way to bring all of that data together, you're right, Eric, and along with the AI tools, that's really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it sounds like, what you had said after, okay, you've got your website, it's great, look for other efficiencies.
Yep.
That this could be one, is like the data, and okay, taking your offline data, putting it in a CRM, putting it somewhere that you can connect, and then use AI to build these profiles and like a customer data platform or something like that to really harness it all. But obviously people can't do that.
Right.
That's where AI and artificial intelligence,
there's just
computers,
so much data out there, just so much. If you could just it's almost like if you can harness it and pull it all together, which is a huge obstacle. If you could do that, I just think the value in doing that and that you achieving that 360-degree view of your customer is just a huge advantage.
I know data cleanliness is always the hardest thing, is getting good, clean data. So
and
if you
data
can unlock...
integrity is always
I was going to say, Eric knows a lot about that.
If you can unlock that.
I say that word at least once a week.
We're going to have a side conversation about that.
Yeah.
But I love so the Chat GPT. Have you used it a lot? What are your thoughts on it?
I have not actually used it a lot. Our team is using it a lot. There's a constant chatter about it in the office. Like, here's what I asked it, and do you think it's coming for all of our jobs? Is usually the But I think it's interesting technology. I think what's interesting is the fact that I think increasingly we're looking for ways to have technology help us do things faster, right? I mean, it's just and yet also we always need people to help figure it out. That's my belief. We always need people to help figure out how to actually put this into practice.
Well, that's why I'm hosting this podcast, because right now I'm a person who can do that, because as a content marketer, I am definitely worried about ChatGPT taking over my job. So, I'm here hosting the Make a Big podcast. If you want, we
can talk about it separately, but I don't think it'll replace your job. So.
Not yet. But 5 years from now, who knows? But I think, like you said, we'll always need people, but I do see the value in having it. Like, I love that it can parse, a thing and give you here's the product that you need, or here's where your order is. I love that. That's as a, somebody who shops online a lot, the best is making that more seamless, not having to talk to a person. And also it's that we're all interested in everything instant. We've become as a culture just so I need it now. So like you said, it's great to use for those simple questions of where is this?
Yeah.
Because it's like you can give someone an instant answer, which is like better customer service, which is like a really cool way. So seeing how that's going to change and evolve in 5 years.
Yeah, and there are tools out there like that. It's not just ChatGPT, but like tools like vendors like Amelia and Core.ai and other AI vendors that are in that space of like how to do customer service leveraging AI that use ChatGPT along with other engines to like drive what they do, and really like they can help both automate like phone call centers as well as like your digital conversational AI. So it's just really interesting, I think. So.
And then the other aspect of the personalization, I feel like that's the Amazon of everything, where it's like, you bought this, now you definitely need these 3 things.
Yeah.
You're so right. I absolutely
It's
need
basically
those.
they know it before you do.
Yeah, being able to predict what someone wants before they know they do. And I think in B2B, personalization is a little trickier in some cases, because it's not just a matter of maybe predicting what what's maybe is the most popular item, but like it often is very specific to that account or the types of products that they are buying, or maybe what equipment. We had one company who would personalize what they would show based on what equipment they knew that company already owned. Like they knew what parts would be most appropriate, replacement parts would be most appropriate to see. So it's just really interesting how personalization.
I feel like that could help with like the reorder experience of like, we know you've ordered this product. Hey, you might want to order some more of it. This seems like using AI to know, oh, it's like every 3 months they're like consistently reordering this, so preemptively like reaching out and through email marketing and being like, hey, we know you're probably going to place an order for this. Here's like a 5% discount because you're a loyal customer, and being able to create those experiences that like can boost orders but also provide value for the customer. It's like, yeah, you're right, I do need this. Oh cool, 5% off. Now I'm not going to try to find it at a different price somewhere else, because we're always searching for the best price or whatever. We're providing that like, oh yeah, I'm going to be loyal, they're really on top of it, they know me so well.
That's right there, that's the key.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, well, I've talked your ear off and probably asked more questions than I was supposed to. So where can our listeners learn more about Brilliance?
Well, they can find us at brillianceweb.com. And they can look Eric and I up also by name at Lori McDonald or Eric Dingeldein on LinkedIn. We're happy to connect with folks there. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm super excited that I was able to talk to you both today. This has been such a fun conversation for me. And that's all that we've got for today. Thank you again so much to our guests, Lori and Eric. And it was great having this conversation with you. I'm sure our audience will take these learnings and make them count in the B2B space. And to our listeners, thank you for spending time with us on the Make It Big podcast. We will see you next time.